is Friday. It is January 31st. It is very bright in here. I did not think this through with the lighting. Maybe that's a little bit better. There's a lot to discuss today. We have Kash Patel, we have Tulsi Gabbard, we have Pete Hegseth and what he admitted on live television to the entire world. We also have RFK Jr. and Elizabeth Warren's dumbass, and not to be outdone by Bernie Sanders' dumbass. And then we also have the flight that was taken out by the Black Hawk helicopter at Reagan National Airport on Wednesday around 9 p.m. and new information that's come out about all of that. So we're just gonna jump into a little bit of everything. Hopefully you guys can hear me today. What I would like to start off with though is the Black Hawk and the issues that people have been talking about with who was flying and who was not flying. There is so much going on in mainstream media right now, talking trash about Trump and how he was going through and, you know, trying to get rid of DEI hires and how he changed things at the FAA and all kinds of stuff. And it's like, he's been in office, obviously, for what, 11 days since the 20th. None of the changes that he has made to the FAA have any consequence to what occurred in at the Reagan National Airport. All right, they are coming out with information now that the air control tower, the ACT, the air control tower, was supposed to have 2 people working, but they were understaffed that night and they only had 1 person working, and that has to have something to do with everything that transpired with the collision of the airplane and the helicopter, the Black Hawk and the passenger plane. So there's that. But mainstream media is dragging Trump right now, saying that it's because of his new policy changes for DEI hiring and getting rid of it that caused the crash. And it's like, well, if anything, it could possibly be because of the previous administration's DEI hiring that caused the crash. We don't know exactly what caused the crash right now. They're still looking for the black boxes. You'll see people out there on social media saying they have the black boxes recovered, but they don't. They are still searching for those. They're trying to get the aircraft out of the water as well. Still looking for the black boxes. There has been information coming out about the pilot of the Black Hawk. There's a couple different things we need to discuss here. I reposted it on my X account that people are saying that one of the pilots on the Black Hawk was a transgender man to woman and named Joe Ellen. Now this person, Joe Ellen, is real. This is the person, let me just show you the face. This is the person that social media is saying was flying the Black Hawk. It is not true. From what I have been able to figure out based off everything I have seen, it is not her, because she is posting on her social media, or he is posting on social media. I still don't know how to do this, right? Because I mean, that's a convincing female face, but that's a dude. They are trying to, and it sucks because it is something that is easy to run with, that story that it was a DEI transgender person in the military who was mad because Donald Trump has come in and wants to do away with transgenders in the military, wants to do away with all the DEI hires and DEI programs. And so this person had a bone to pick, or was pissed off and purposefully crashed their Black Hawk into this passenger plane, killing 67 people total in order to put the spotlight on Donald Trump. That's what a lot of people are saying. And that's a lot. Thankfully, it's not true. There was a female pilot on the plane, which I don't have the name of the female pilot yet, and there was a male pilot on the plane. They are saying that the male pilot, his name was Ryan O'Hara. But the problem here is a lot of people, and myself included, because I don't know the military requirements to fly a Black Hawk. I can Google it, right? But I don't know it off the top of my head. A lot of people are going to talk about the pilots of the airplane. I don't know what their jobs are off the top of my head because I don't fly planes. I don't know if the person in the control tower did their job or did not do their job because I don't know how to work a control tower. So these are all going to be speculations until they have the full, complete breakdown or rundown of what had happened, right? But what we do know is so far they're saying that the female was the co-pilot, but she was the one who was in charge of flying the helicopter, the Black Hawk. The male was the main pilot, but she was in the female was actual female was in training to, I don't know what part of training it is, but they're saying she had 500 flight hours. He had over 1,000 flight hours. They're saying there were no lights on the Black Hawk, but they were wearing night vision goggles. And this crash that occurred was not the first, well, there have been numerous near misses of helicopters and airplanes, because there is a setup of a, I don't remember, y'all, I don't remember if it was Army, Air Force. I don't know exactly what it is over there, but there is a military installment of some sort with flying helicopters and stuff like that. And so they're saying that the Reagan National Airport has been very tricky for pilots to take off and land in general, because there is such a congested area between the actual planes that land at Reagan National and then the ones that are military based, right? Now, what we do know for a fact is that the airplane that was supposed to land on runway 1, where 90-something% of the airplanes land at Reagan National Airport, was diverted to runway 33, which is not used very often. They are saying now that the Black Hawk was confirming that it had the plane in its visual, but they are saying now that they were looking at the wrong plane. They were looking at the one that was headed towards runway 1, because when you watch any of the videos, you can see there is an airplane here, and then farther back you see the other airplane, the one that was involved in the collision, and you see the Black Hawk coming, it looks like just aiming directly at this airplane. And it's possible that the Black Hawk did not see, I think it's 5342 was the flight number that was going towards runway 33, because that's not a runway they generally use. They use runway 1. So it is being said that the pilot and co-pilot of this Black Hawk were looking at the airplane that was farther forward, which was headed to runway 1. And so the Black Hawk thought they were perfectly fine because they were nowhere near them, and because they were focused this way, they did not see this way, and that's how there was the collision. It's still very hard for me to believe that nobody on that Black Hawk saw that airplane coming, and it's very easy to believe that the pilots on the airplane did not see the Black Hawk, because they were in a slight turn to get to runway 33 versus runway 1, and the Black Hawk did not have any lights on. So any of that could have been pilot error on either part, could have been air traffic control, ATC, I keep calling it ACT, air traffic control area error, because there's only one person in the tower at the time. There's a lot of things that could have happened. It still is fishy as all get out to me, but again, I'm speaking from the standpoint of complete ignorance on how to fly a Black Hawk or fly a passenger plane or work in an air control tower, air tower control, whatever it's called, air traffic control. So complete ignorance on my part on how it works. This is a random person outside looking in going, how is this possible? I mean, looking at the video, I can see clearly that you guys are on this path. How have you missed it? And I know a lot of people feel the same way I do with not understanding how this could be done. There have been a lot of videos that have been posted up from pilots who are giving their thoughts and opinions on how this occurred, and I would say that 90% of the ones I have seen and heard are saying that it was due to the fact that, possibly due to the fact that, let's be real specific here, possibly due to the fact that the Black Hawk was focused on the wrong airplane, because they confirmed with the air traffic control or air tower or whatever that they did have eyes on the plane, and they're saying now that they had eyes on the wrong plane. So that's the information that's out so far. But I do want to say that the information going around about it being a transgender pilot, when you first hear it, of course you immediately go, well, that makes sense. That explains it all, right? Because obviously they'd have a bone to pick and they'd be really pissed off and whatever else. But also at the same time, we have to remember, myself included, not to jump to the conclusions, not to immediately just take it all for fact, and not to let our, and I'm going to say, prejudices determine how we think and feel about the situations going on. What's interesting to me, though, is that at the same time we're talking about this flight and everything that happened here and the lives that were lost, 67 lives lost total. They're saying 64 on the passenger plane, 3 on the military helicopter, on the Black Hawk. At the same time all this is going on, you also have the confirmation hearings going on in Washington for Kash Patel and Tulsi Gabbard, right? So all kinds of stuff happening at the exact same time, and your attention is being diverted every which way possible. While this is happening, Pete Hegseth, you know, he's a very thorough man when it comes to putting the information out there for the American people to understand everything that's going on. And I'm trying to find this video so you guys can hear this. Well, here's what I want you to understand before we watch this. He spoke on the tragedy of the plane and helicopter collision. And I want you to hear what he has to say, because to me, this is where the big picture is, okay? So just listen really fast to, and I'm sure we're backwards again today. I have no clue. So just ignore it if he's backwards.
Staff Sergeant and CW2 Chief Warrant Officer on a routine annual retraining of night flights on a standard corridor for a continuity of government mission. The military does dangerous things. It does routine things.
Continuity of government is what is throwing people, because they could be on a training mission, they could be doing all these other things, but it's the throwing in the words of continuity of government that is sticking, right? Because why? That's the question. Why? Now, I want to bring to your attention here, though often discussed in relation to nuclear war or a similarly chaotic scenario, continuity of government plans can be triggered even by popular nonviolent opposition to an unpopular war abroad. It exists solely to keep the current system in place regardless of the cost. So the reason this is important, and the reason I think that phrase stuck with so many people, is because we also heard that there was a doomsday plane in the area. Now, doomsday plane, from what I've gathered, has to do with nuclear weapons or nuclear fallout. We also know that they had drones all over the area in Jersey and New York and Maryland and all along the coast there. And it came out later on that they were worried about lost nuclear something or others. So when he says continuity of government, that just, it gives you a pause, right? Now, it could be that is the training, that there is no actual continuity, it's a very hard word for me to say, of government, but to be training on it right now is what makes it suspicious, given the fact that we have a new administration in, new cabinet coming in. We've had issues with, all these other countries lately. And it's something that you have to remember that you heard it and just pay attention to what's going on after that. Okay, so that's it. That's the only reason why I brought that up, because again, hearing Pete Hegseth say continuity of government gives you a little bit of a pause to go, I'm sorry, what are we doing? So that's that. On top of that, where is it here? So this is, Nick Sorter posted this on X, and like I said, there have been numerous other almost collisions at Reagan National Airport. And he says just 24 hours before an American Airlines flight collided with a Black Hawk at Reagan National Airport, and I do want to phrase it differently, the Black Hawk collided with the airplane. I mean, visually you can see it. Anyway, another American flight had to abort landing due to a helicopter crossing its flight path at the same airport. And this is AA 4514, can be seen on radar, having to go around and make a second attempt, and is currently under investigation, and this should not be happening. So here's the visual of it. The airplane is coming into land, and it gets close, and then a helicopter is in its way, so it has to redivert, go around, come back, and try again because of said helicopter. I showed you guys videos yesterday of all the helicopters that people were recording from their planes as they were either taking off or landing. You had Black Hawks and other helicopters in the area at lower ground level. Why are they so close together is what I want to know. If there is a military installment there, why is it so close? Why are they flying at the same time that passenger planes are trying to take off and land? It seems like a very bad setup, and they have talked about it for years, how it's unsafe. You have pilots who don't like to fly into Reagan National Airport because of the difficulty of landing and taking off due to all of the heavy air traffic that's there. I'm wondering if we're going to see a change in that moving forward after this collision, because that could be, and I hate to use the phrase while talking about a situation where so many people lost their lives, but it could be the straw that broke the camel's back. It could be the situation that brings more focus onto Reagan National Airport, and people go, hey, listen, this has been a very unsafe area for a very long time due to the extreme amount of ins and outs of flights and military and whatever else, and maybe they will separate or do something there. I'm not quite sure how that works, but this is, I'm just going to show you guys this. This is the last moments of the flight, and you can see here, let me make sure this is playing correctly because I want you to see accurately. Okay, watch. So you see all those planes there. Those are ones that have landed on runway 1 as they should. You'll see flight 5342 come in, and it's off course because it was told to land at a completely different runway. And then that's when the issues occurred because they are having to go to a completely different spot. And you have to wonder why they were diverted to runway 33 because that has not been released yet that I have found. If you guys have seen it or heard it, please let everybody know in the chat. But I have not seen why it was diverted to runway 33. The runway 1 should have been open for everybody. The only reason I could see there being a diversion, I don't know how to phrase that, to runway 33 would be because of too many of the Black Hawk helicopters in the way for the plane to land where it should have landed. It's just something feels off about it to me, and I don't want it to, and I don't want to be that person, and I want to just say, you know what, unfortunately accidents happen, but how often does this accident happen here in the United States when we've been flying in the air for decades and everything else? So it's still, something rubs me wrong, and I don't know how to accept it as a human error and it not have any level of purposeful incompetence somewhere along the line. That's what's bothering me. So anyway, that's all I've got on that. We're going to move on away from the plane stuff for now. What I would like to point out that I think is very interesting is right now during these Senate confirmation hearings, all right, you have Democrats like Elizabeth Warren, like Bernie Sanders, like the lady from Hawaii. I can't ever say her name, but you know the lady. She always asks weird sex questions. It's very weird to me. You have them trying to discredit every single person that Donald Trump wants in his cabinet. And what's interesting is how hard they're going at these people to discredit them, especially RFK Jr. and Tulsi Gabbard, who themselves were Democrats at one point before they realized that the Democrat Party has somehow, some way lost its ever-loving mind, and the Republicans are now the ones who are completely sane. It used to be the opposite way around. That's what everybody said, that the Republicans were batshit crazy and the Democrats were the ones that were sane and cared about country, cared about people, cared about, you know, right and wrong. And somehow over time it has flipped. That's what they say. Like, again, I was not a into politics at all person before the last 4 years, so it's difficult for me to say what was what 20 or 30 years ago because I don't know. All right, I know right now that clearly, to me personally, the Democrats are lost. They are floundering. They have no sense of direction. They have no moral compass. They have no love of country. You can't have a love of country and then want it to be overrun and overtaken by people who don't legally belong here and are committing crimes and murders and everything else. You can't say love of country and allow that at the same time. You can't say that you are for the safety and the betterment of people and then push transgender on children. And you can't say that you are for the health and safety of people and then push all this pharmaceutical crap on everybody. So, you know, anyway, not the point. Anyway, so let me read this to you because this person said this exactly how I was thinking it, but didn't know how to phrase it. All right. This person named Topher Field over on X posted this, and I'm going to read it to you word for word. He says, I think I figured it out. I've been watching the U.S. confirmation hearings and something very deep has shifted. It's more than just the kinds of people being appointed. It's bigger than a vibe shift, but I couldn't figure out what it was. It's the revolution eating its own. Even Democrats are having their eyes opened as they watch their heroes from the last few decades try to tear down the people who could have made the Democrats great again. People who should have been their next generation of Democratic heroes. RFK Jr. and Tulsi Gabbard stand out as great examples, and longtime Democrat power brokers like Bernie Sanders are trying every trick to destroy them, every weapon, all the things that used to work, and it's blowing up in their faces. The revolutionary old guard are trying to eat their own and are being devoured by them instead. These Senate confirmation hearings are highlighting the fact that MAGA is actually a unity movement with the best of the Republicans and the best of the Democrats taking the country forward together and leaving the decrepit old guard behind. And that summed it up so well, because you can't have the Democrats say they want the best for the people and then fight everything that's the best for the people. When you had RFK Jr. and Tulsi Gabbard, who were Democrats, and you pushed them out of your party because you cared more about the kickbacks you're getting from Big Pharma, or you cared more about the DEI money you were getting from the Biden administration, or you cared more about having some weird platform to stand on that was meant to divide and separate everybody morally and spiritually, religiously at the same time. And then you now are trying to keep the people out that would have been amazing for your side if you had just not been stupid. It's crazy to me. It's crazy to me that the Democrats are willing to watch everything burn as opposed to say, you know what? You may be right, I may be wrong. Let's think about this together. Let's all work together to get this right. That's what's weird to me. You have RFK Jr. and Tulsi Gabbard who stood back and said, something's not right here. Let's do what we can to make this right. And it turns out that they needed to be on the other side of the aisle. And they willingly went to the other side of the aisle in order to make things better. I feel like it's very hard for people to change their political preference, just like changing your religion. Certain things, I think, are deeply seated within people, and politics and religion seem to be the two most, right? So for these people to purposefully change their political parties because the current political party they are in seems to have lost their way says a lot to me, and shows how very strong these two people are, RFK Jr. and Tulsi Gabbard. There's numerous other Democrats who have moved to the Republican side, and that shows, to me, great strength of character. But that's, again, to me, the humanitarian Hillary Dunn says divide and conquer. That is what the Democrats have tried to do. And under Donald Trump, I think the Democrats, I believe it was Kamala Harris, who was trying to say that they were for unity because they were trying to unite people with mental disorders and normal people, meaning transgenders and non-transgenders and whatever else. But the party of unity really is Donald Trump's party. You can call it the Republican Party, but you have Democrats who have moved in. You have independents who have moved in. So at this point, I look at it as the party of unity because it makes sense. It's not just one political thought process. It's numerous political thought processes that have melded into its own new thing. And that is what we need in order to take this country forward. To quote whatever dipshit's name, we're not going back. No, this is not a backwards movement. Everything we are doing is to move forward away from the absolute shithole the last 4 years have become because of the massive push to divide when it comes to the Biden administration. You can't look at DEI and say that's not a divisive, what is it? Oh, what's the word? Divisive. Doesn't really matter what the word is. It's divisive. Being hired because you are qualified for the job versus being hired because they need to check off a box for somebody who's trans, somebody who's black, somebody who's gay, somebody who's Asian, somebody who's Hispanic. That makes absolutely no sense. That is more divisive than anything. That says to me, you know, it doesn't matter if you're qualified for the job as long as you're this. And then it makes it physical and not based off of actual work you've ever done in your life, or the amount of skill that you have for anything. And that's trash to me. That's absolute trash to me. I don't ever want to be in a position where I am hired for something or given a spot for something just because I'm a female or just because I'm white. That's awful. I want to be where I am because I have a brain, because I know how to use my brain, because I am a hard worker, because I have earned it, not just because somebody needed to check off a box. That's absolutely, I mean, I would think if you are a DEI hire, it would make you feel even worse about yourself knowing that the only reason you're there is because you're trans, or because you're black, or because you're Asian or Hispanic or whatever else. And even in certain situations, because you're white, they have to have all of those things, right? When we started the participation trophy type of living, that's when everything went to shit, because nobody knows how to do the right thing anymore. Nobody knows how to follow a moral compass. Nobody knows how to take a win or a loss or work hard. I mean, if you don't have to, why would you? That's where people are these days, and it's such a shit show. But anyway, we've gotten way off topic with everything. Well, kind of, sort of. It's all still topic. But the reason I bring all of this up, obviously, is because, again, we have the confirmation hearings yesterday for Kash Patel and Tulsi Gabbard. And the way that these people went after them is absolutely crazy to me. So Babylon Bee posted, and I think this is hilarious. They said, we're taking a break from the whole diversity thing today. And then you have two very diverse looking people trying to be part of Donald Trump's cabinet. You have the Democrats pushing DEI, but the second you have anybody who's not white for Trump's cabinet, they fight it. Like, if they really wanted to put people in places based off of their sex, or based off of their race, or based off of whatever else, here, put them in just because she's a woman and he's a man of color. Like, go for it, right? Anyway, that was funny to me. I found that very amusing. I would like to really quickly go back to the airplane thing for just a second. You guys may remember months ago, we talked about it when they were they were questioning the nominees for the FAA administrator, and the person that they ended up giving the job to could not answer a single question about the FAA, about planes in general. And I said, this is that DEI bullshit that is going to wreak havoc on the industry in general. And I'm just saying, but listen, Ted Cruz.
You ever flown a plane?
Thank you for the question, Senator. No, I have never flown a plane.
So you weren't a military pilot or a commercial airline pilot?
No, Senator.
Have you ever worked for an airline?
No, Senator.
Have you ever worked as an air traffic controller?
No, Senator.
You ever worked for a company that manufactures airplanes?
No, Senator.
You ever worked for a company that fixes airplanes?
No, Senator.
Exactly.
FAA administrator is a specialized position. I'm not qualified to be FAA administrator. I have no idea how to fly a plane. No one in their right mind would put me in charge of aviation safety because I don't have that experience. I suspect most of the members of this committee are in a similar position. The American people, when they think about aviation safety, when they think about, I played in this committee, a Southwest Airlines and FedEx plane almost colliding at Austin's airport. They want an FAA administrator who knows why those planes crash and knows how to fix it to keep them safe.
Mm-hmm.
And with all respect, Mr. Washington, it gives no comfort to the flying public that their pilot might be a transgendered witch, but doesn't actually know how to prevent the plane from crashing into the ground and killing them. I believe your record is woefully lacking. And in fact, you have zero aviation safety experience.
What's funny to me is I don't know who the lady was in green that stood up right next to Ted Cruz to reposition herself, but you could tell she was trying very hard not to laugh. But the fact of the matter is, the Biden administration put people through who had no business being where they were. Let me once again remind you of Rachel Levine, the overweight, unattractive man dressed as a woman that they made the head or the Secretary of Health or whatever the crap the name is that RFK Jr. is trying to get. I don't remember the names for everything, but they made that person. You cannot be transgender and have health anywhere near you because clearly mental health is not at the forefront, right? I'm just saying, I don't, this would be like making me, let's see, what position could I go apply for right now? I want to be, I'm trying to think of something just like the most smart ass thing I could possibly think of. I want to be the men's coach for, this is the stupidest thing. I can't think of anything. So we're going to go with lacrosse. I've never played lacrosse in my life. I don't even know what it is. I know the word. Is that the one with the net that you like run around and you catch it and you throw it? Or is that the one on the horse? I have no clue. But you should make me the head of the entire lacrosse organization in this world and let me make all the decisions on what's going to happen. The hell would that make any sense? Why would that make any sense at all? It doesn't. It doesn't make sense. So putting this person in as the head of the FAA, who has no clue on any of it, absolutely no sense. There are things that matter. You having knowledge in certain situations matter. Now, people could go, well, you made Donald Trump president. Well, Donald Trump's not a dumbass. He understands everything that's going on around the world. That man can stand up there and have a 3-hour-long conversation or answer questions for 3 hours with no notes, no phone to Google shit, nobody slipping him notes, Cory Booker, so he knows what to say or what to ask. He can do it on his own because he pays attention and he knows what's happening. And that's why he makes a great candidate for president, right? This man didn't have any of that knowledge. He couldn't do anything. He couldn't answer any of the questions because Ted Cruz was not the only person who questioned him. There was another guy, white guy, I don't know his name, who questioned him and asked him, same thing like they did with Pete Hegseth. They asked this FAA guy specific questions on landing gear and other parts of airplanes, like with specific names, and the guy was like, I don't know. Then they go to Pete Hegseth and ask him about certain bullets and certain guns and certain whatever, and he knew everything like that. You know why? Because he's qualified for the job that he's applying for. I am very excited to watch this administration bring back common sense and sanity, because that's what it comes down to. For the last 4 years, we have had a lack of common sense, and it has just like bled over into the American people. It is crazy to me how often on a daily basis you see people with victim mentality or entitlement mentality and all this other stuff. And it's like, how did we get here? Like, how did we get here? That's all I want to know, is how we got here. Anyway, that's that. Oh, please hold. Let's see. Where are we at here? Somebody posted this on X, which I thought was extremely important to ask. They said, why are U.S. senators who take money from Big Pharma allowed to vote on confirmations for HHS, which oversees the FDA? Talk about conflicts of interest, which is very, very true, because Elizabeth Warren made million something over the last couple of years from Big Pharma. They were her backers, her donators, whatever. Same thing with Bernie Sanders. The two that were screaming the absolute loudest during the RFK Jr. confirmation hearing are the two that have the most to lose financially if he gets in, because they know that they're going to lose their main pockets of support, their main money that comes in to keep them going. When Elizabeth Warren was talking about, you know, if RFK Jr. gets in, he's going to bankrupt the pharmaceutical companies, the vaccine companies. Okay, well, now this is what they are saying. This is what I actually can't say it out loud because YouTube like really fucking sucks when it comes to what they like to call health misinformation, even though it's real. And I know these are backwards. So I'm going to post this over on X. I'm going to show it to you. And like I said, yes, I know it's backwards, but if you guys look at the screen and look at the percentage increases in these certain things since 1990, when the other certain things have increased significantly, and how many you must give children when they're little and whatever else, you can see the significant increase in all these other issues since then. Like I said, I will post this over on X. I'll put this, I'll put a link to it also so you guys can go over and check it out, because I can't post it as a community post. But it is a huge truth that the people who are getting money from this don't want to go away. They would rather get paid for the lies than save people with the truth. And that, to me, makes you a really shitty person at the end of the day, no matter what side you're on. There could be Republicans that are the same way. If there's Republicans out there that vote against RFK Jr., I'm going to say that you're a shitty person. Independents, shitty person. Democrat, shitty person. Anybody that votes against the health and safety of our children and ourselves and our country in general, shitty person. So that's that. I just want to show you this one. I want to show you this because, listen, this is a whole different kind of topic and we could do a whole video on this. Oh, this is going to rub some people the wrong way. Not on purpose, I promise you. The last 4 years, to me, feels like trying, like the, not just this administration, but okay, this administration and media and movies and TVs and commercials and everything else have tried to make it so that women feel superior to men. I think that's the way to phrase that they feel superior to men, that they are considered superior to men. And we have lost the, how to phrase it. I mean, I wasn't alive in the 30s, 40s, 50s, hell, the 60s, when the family dynamic was man of the house and then woman takes care of the stuff, you know, all that kind of stuff. I can tell you my husband and I live our lives like that. He is the man of the house. Yes, I'm the woman of the house, but I do not talk over my husband in a disrespectful manner. I do not disrespect my husband in private or in public. I do not get in a man's face and yell at him like we are on the same physical plane, right? I will talk shit all day long about people, right? And I will, if I need to stand up for myself or somebody, I will. But the reason I'm saying this is, this is this meme that's going around. Look at the faces of these men as these women are just berating them, yelling at them, whatever. The only reason I am bringing this up is because it feels like the last 4 years has really pushed women to forget that they are women, to forget their, this hard word, femininity. And I don't want to say forget their place because that feels real stupid. But forget that we are not equal. Men and women are not equal. We have our own strengths. We all have our own weaknesses. The thinking we are equal in every aspect is absolutely stupid. Getting paid equally for doing equal amount of work, that makes perfect sense to me. If I'm doing the exact same thing broski over here is doing, you better pay me the same. Don't pay me less just because I'm a woman. However, if that guy over there is lifting 500 pounds and I can only lift 100, pay me less because clearly he's doing more work. I'm just saying, like, certain things. But when I see these kind of things and you look at the divide the last couple years, it does really feel like it has been to destroy not just the family unit, but the, I don't know how to say it, but the shift the power. That sounds stupid. No, not shift the power, because it's not like men have all the power. That's dumb. I don't know how to phrase it. Y'all know exactly what I mean, though. If you've ever been here before, you know what I'm trying to say. I don't like how it feels like women are now portrayed as angry and always yelling, nagging, just whatever. I don't really know how to phrase any of that kind of stuff, but y'all know exactly what I mean. We see it way too many times on social media posts, out in public, out in whatever else, and it gives me the ew, you know, it gives me like the ick. We need masculine men and feminine women. There's nothing wrong with being a masculine woman and a feminine man if that's what works for you, but the dynamic is meant to be masculine men, feminine women. I'm not 100% feminine. I know I'm considered a masculine female because the shape of me, I guess, is more dudeish. I have wide shoulders. I don't know. And I'm not a sit down, shut up type of person, but I don't equate that with being feminine either. Sit down, shut up makes no sense as a feminine. listen, I know, way off kilt, way off course, way off whatever, but it's just, it's crazy that that's where we've been the last couple years. And when I see these pictures of the yelling and stuff, it's like, I feel like if we all spoke to each other in a more respectful manner, and this goes towards men's to women. I mean, just like we saw at the confirmation hearing for Tulsi Gabbard, that one guy who would not let her answer the question that he asked and kept talking over her, whatever else. If we all had more respect for each other and treated each other fairly, this place would be so much better, as opposed to everybody wanting the last word or thinking that they are the smartest, they are the best, everybody else around them is stupid. I mean, I know I call Democrats stupid all the time, but it doesn't mean I'm not going to have a conversation with one if they want to have a conversation, and I'm going to hear them out, you know, and have conversation back. We've seemed to have lost that way, and it feels like they've been pushing it for the longest as trying to make women angry at everything instead of trying to bring peace to everything. I don't know how else to phrase any of that, y'all. That's anyway, so there's that. There's so much more we could be doing right now with different conversations. Oh, we already talked about the Pete Hegseth admitting live on air the continuity of government still is sticking with me, and we're going to keep an eye on that, because that to me is huge. We could do more on how just a year ago, 11 Republican attorney generals wrote a letter to Biden administration expressing their frustration with the new DEI practices affecting the Federal Aviation Administration. It's been going on for a very, very long time, and it's just, you know, there's a lot happening right now. I think that's all we're going to do for right now, because there's way too much, and we would be here for absolute ever. Yeah, that's it for now. That's it for now. Y'all, I love y'all. I need to go eat breakfast. My brain has, you know, completely gone haywire in here, and I need caffeine and food. So I love y'all. Thank you for being here this early. I know it's earlier than normal, but I wanted to have the conversation while I wanted to have the conversation. And I will see you guys again a little bit later. I don't know what time, but we'll do this again later with more information, because like I said, I have a ton of stuff. If there's anything you guys want to have specific talks about, just let me know. Put it in the comment section. I do read them as much as humanly possible, but there's a lot of comments sometimes, so I try to, but not always worked. Besides that, I hope you're having a fabulous Friday. It's the last day of January. Tomorrow starts a whole new month. Fingers crossed, less bullshit in February than has been in January, because January has been a whole just... Right? So fingers crossed February is a little more zen, a little more woosah, a little more whatever. So that's that. But I love y'all. Thanks for being here for the conversation, engaging in the conversation with each other in the live chat. I appreciate you all immensely, and I will see you guys again later. Okay? Bye. Adios.